All right. So when we last left our Victorian heroes, as the smoggy days return, as the vapors waft across London, the uh, you're all at a local coffee house, pondering your next moves. At this point, uh, supposedly after looking into the Davenports have a country mansion out in Penrose, maybe about 5-6 miles out of town. Let's see what other stuff you are looking into. What was it? You're
Two
looking
boys,
into
right?
making a deal with the Black Fairy at the.
At the
Someone have a
bordello.
note. Does someone have notes on what the name of the brothel slash house of ill repute is?
Not the name, no. I just know that there was one, and that we're going to find the Black Fairy there.
I think I just kept calling it a brothel. So you can make up any name you like, and we won't
I
controversy.
remember it. It is Lady K's.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
it. Yes, that
She's
is it.
Lady K. Yeah.
And she is Lady K. All right.
We're still looking for those boys.
All right. And why were you looking for the Black Fairy again?
So because they have their dust that they have is like one of the best mass disenchantment.
Oh, it basically removes enchantments. Okay. It
And the fact
removes
that
charm.
we want to use it to remove the thrall that the Davenports have placed on most of the
Most of the
North Ward.
residents around the beer hall
They're
area.
like a
Yeah, is that not? Yeah, is that not in
There's like
the North
more than
Ward
a
ish?
block worth of people are all under the thrall of the Davenports. Are going. If we come in to get into problems here, is like we're gonna have a whole village of the damned chasing us down. If
Thrall or otherwise convinced that they are good people.
yes,
So, it was my understanding that the wand of disenchantment that Dirk got does pretty well short term, and we think that's going to help. But in
Yeah,
terms of like
it's
a
good in
permanent
yeah.
situation, that the dust from the Black Fairy should be
Yeah.
infinitely superior.
okay.
And I think we had a long rest, and Dirk's wand resets at dusk.
Dawn. Or is it
No,
dusk?
it was
Yes,
dusk.
it does.
It's 24 hours.
So, it's dusk. Well, he just got it, right? So then it was going to reset. He's used it twice. So I think it's got 3 charges, and I roll to see.
Whenever you don't expend the last charge unless absolutely necessary.
Right, I'm not, but I want to get back too if I can. So what am I going to
Yeah.
roll to see how
23.
many?
I think you said it was a D4 plus 1?
No, it's just a D3.
Or a D3. Okay.
So all the wands that don't have 6 charges and instead of 3 charges recharge 1d3. So
I don't even know. Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, so I
okay,
got
you got your 2
two.
charges.
So I got two back, so we're back to 3.
More
Okay.
than 50%. Can't complain about that.
All right. So,
Oh, and you know what? I'm not going to roll a 1 and destroy it because I'm a halfling.
That's true. Well, no, what? Yeah, that is true. If
Yeah.
you like expend the last charge, it's impossible for you to roll the one. That's actually genius.
Yeah, I thought of
How
that.
to abuse
put it
rules
this
as
way, you have to
written.
roll one twice, but it's like very unlikely.
1 in 400.
Yes.
Well, I've also got the lucky feet.
So throw that on top of it.
All right, there we go. Okay, so you are in the South Work at this point. The coffee's bad, the air quality's bad, but the company's great. So as you're as you're as you are having an entertaining time as a local minstrel is like playing some body tunes, telling jokes, and everybody's having a good old time here at the coffee house. Uh, the the word on the street is not many people have actually seen Lady K in person. But supposedly she's tiny. She's like she's an actual like pixie,
Fairy,
pixie
yeah.
or sprite or something. So she's literally like 6 inches tall.
That tracks. At least I think that tracks.
And the other thing that people note is that she has an incredibly terrible temper. She treats people who treat her well very well, and treats people who treat her badly very, very badly. Let's put it that way.
Now, we found out at the college that the Davenports had bought something to kill one of the tree spirits. Was it a dryad?
Yes, it
It
was
was
a
a
dryad.
dark
They
dryad,
they
wasn't
bought
it?
the proverbial like Agent Orange essentially from the Alchemist Guild.
But
So
I think it was like a dark dryad of some kind. Do we think that Madame K would be
No,
upset about that?
it wasn't a dark dryad. It was just a normal
it's a
dryad.
regular dryad.
A regular one? Okay. I was thinking of something else then. We understand that she might like to make trades, so I kind of agree that we don't want to give her those wands that can turn people into thralls if we can help it. We have that hinky crystal ball. What else? We have money, but she's probably got money. What do we have that we might be able to barter?
Other than favors.
Yeah,
I got
I
a
don't
few
want to.
thrall.
Yeah, I guess we could ask her if she's got a quest. I don't want to be trading favors in a bordello on this particular session. We could do a
Yeah.
quest for her, sure.
Or like side object. Hey, we're going to this place. Is there anything you need us to do along the way? Sort of deal.
Or we might need to do a quest for her first.
Maybe.
You know, although I think from the timeline, it's this evening, and then tomorrow is Wednesday, and that's when they have the big party, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And that's when we want to get there with the powder and hit them all at once for the most part.
right.
Excuse me.
So if we see her tonight, we would have time to take some actions tomorrow before the party.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you want to go over to Lady K's at this point?
Do we have anything that could be just a small gesture of goodwill?
I still have a crystal spider. I don't know if that's like a pretty shiny would help. I don't know.
Sure.
Just something to get us off on the right foot.
The crystal spider is like an assassin's weapon, so you don't know if Lady K is actually like shady or not, but who knows?
What the heck is a
Oh,
crystal spider in
I
this
thought it was
case?
just a pretty thing. I didn't know it was a weapon. Whoa.
That tracks. That's L. Well, my deal is that I didn't want to just go waltzing in over there and then try and ad lib everything. I'd like the party to talk about what we want to do there
Mm-hmm.
because I foresee that we could step all over each other and truly make her angry.
It's very true.
Any suggestions on how we should coordinate and conduct ourselves and who should be speaking and what they should be saying?
Well, this is why I thought even just like a small gesture to get us off on the right foot wouldn't be a bad idea.
That's very valid. Yeah.
Okay.
What type of gesture? I have no idea. Lawrence, would I know what fey creatures like in any capacity, or am I, for all intents and purposes, like in the dark completely? I don't know what the war in Tirnanog was like.
That dark fae have dark senses of humor. Essentially, the art and beauty what they consider artful and beautiful tends to be a little gothic or a little warped or twisted. So,
would a black rose be
black rose would be reasonable. Yeah,
reasonable. Okay.
Like jewelry made from bones, essentially. What else? Like
Didn't we get some dragon's teeth
the
from the
sorrowful tear of a maiden or a widow, essentially. All these various things that have to do with sort of melancholy, items essentially all would tend to favor Winter Fae. Let's put it that way.
Didn't
I
we
wonder
get
if, like-
some? Go ahead.
I was just gonna wonder if there's anything that would theoretically, since I'm like part of the nun situation, that I could have like snuck away from the church. I don't know if that's an option.
Well, I'm saying if you want to give up the crystal spider, essentially that'd be a perfect item. Essentially, it's technically a drow assassin weapon.
Yeah, like I don't have too much purpose for it because like.
Well, let's put it this
didn't-
way: as a redemption paladin, you basically poisoning people to death is not probably on your agenda. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and assassins are generally going to be sneaking in and using a delicate little spider where she's going to come thumping in. So that
I don't
makes
think
sense.
Owl knows the meaning of the word delicate.
I don't think she does. She's really not.
It takes one to know one. Is all I'm going to say.
That's fair.
So, but we did. I think we got some teeth from the dragon skull, didn't we? Like
Yes,
most
you
of it
did.
was damaged, but we got some. So, that's something else too.
I don't know what the dragon teeth serve, if they serve something, but yes, crystal spider doesn't really serve me much. And I'd be happy to give if it's like a perfect thing, you know.
Okay.
It's all. I leave that to you guys, but I wanted to leave it as an option.
I mean, sounds good to me at least. I don't have a use for it.
I'm thinking that maybe Krishana wants to talk, be the face for this particular one.
Potentially. I don't want her to get wrapped up in anything she doesn't want to, but she's definitely better at talking than I am.
Well, she's half elf, and she's a bard.
That too, immune.
And she's a woman. And
Yeah.
I thought that may go over better than any of the rest of us.
Oh, yeah, you make a good point.
Is that okay, Ricky?
That'll be fine.
Okay. And then, so we're gonna. How forthcoming are we gonna be about like that? We're trying to take down the Davenports and we're trying to rescue the two boys. Like,
I
are
don't
we
see
gonna
no
have
reason
an
to
open
hide it.
hand with everything, and then hope we can get on board? Do we know if she might have like she might have an interest in any? If she might have a dog in any of these fights that we're doing?
I wouldn't know, despite being a dog.
I would mention the Davenports. I would definitely mention, trying to root out, enchantments for people.
Maybe, this thought just scared to me. The devil you know versus the devil you don't. Maybe she would prefer to have enchantments on people than the Davenports. And maybe her enchantments are, I don't know, less harmful, not including death. Maybe they just I don't know. Speaking an idea here.
If they were just getting Agent Orange to take out a tree that they didn't like, I can only imagine that they've been causing problems for the other Fae in the city.
Mm-hmm. You make a good point.
So unless she's doing dealings with them, and the other thing we have is that they were sneaking additional vampires in. That was that NNNXXX.
Yeah.
So we're interrupting their they're bringing the additional vampires in. So it wasn't just the thralls. Actually, they were like plotting, taking sort of stuff.
Okay, so as far as that is concerned, you've already reported to that to authorities, so that's closed down at this point.
For the
Right,
most part, yeah.
We can tell the
That
Dark
is closed
Fairy
down.
that because she probably is not in favor of being taken over by vampires. I'm thinking, try and build some goodwill.
Yeah, like, we have the city's best interest at heart here, and if everyone's mind controlled by vampires, you might not get any business either, so...
We don't know who the Davenports are in league with because
Do you make a good point?
I think the Davenports are trying to purge humans.
I don't know if it's about purging or if they're just using us as a resource.
They're part of this mysterious order. There's part of this mysterious order called the Order of Hermes. And the Order of Hermes, as far as you can tell, accomplished something, though not exactly what they were, probably not fully what they wanted, but they summoned something.
It seems to be causing a lot of problems in London, so we have no reason to believe
Because
that
it's basically
helping.
just spreading, like, corruption all over the place at this point.
So it's probably not helping Lady K. So maybe when we go into this, we can sort of tease some of these topics and feel her out for how she feels about it. But,
That's a good idea.
Okay. All right. So are you good at this point? Are you heading over to Lady K's?
I think we have enough of
I
a
feel like we
plan.
have a plan. I was a
All
little
right.
uncomfortable before.
You head to the south part of the South Wark. If Southward could get more grimy and shadier than it already was, essentially the south end of the south end is it. There's they're sort of like half naked men and women hanging out of balconies. There various individuals are catcalling you from windows and entryways to come see their wares while their wares are already on display. And
Ew.
like, I can see it all. Essentially, in fact, the little bit of clothing you're wearing is accentuating that I can see it all. uh, you arrive at Lady
And it's
K's,
dirty, right? They're displaying dirty wares at this point.
exactly. You arrive at a
So,
Moulin Rouge style building with flashing magical lights, proudly announcing Lady K's in neon, and a giant red flashing neon leg that sort of like continuously does the can. There's beautiful men and women in abundance, tending to various moderately wealthy clientele. So you're like, this is where you're guessing wealthy people go slum it, because it's like the lowliest individual in there is like dressed in clothing that probably is 5-6 months worth of your salary. Let's put it that way, of your normal.
Jeez.
damn.
The a trans madam wanders up to you. Well, hello. My name's Sunny. What can I do for you, lovely gents and ladies?
Greetings. Wow, you are an interesting thing. I was trying to get some time with Madame K.
Oh, well, I can't say she's the most gracious hostess, but you can find her in the back next to the wrestling ring. And she points a sort of long, like taloned finger over towards the back. You can hear what sounds like the sounds of some sort of sporting event on there. There's like raucous cheering, or yeah, and then you hear like the horrible smashing of flesh on like canvas, is like bam, and then the slap of a fist against basically flesh, smack. There's definitely some sort of fighting event going on in the back at the moment, as there's a large crowd of individuals, like 5 or 6 layers deep, surrounding a ring. You can't see anything from the back of the circle at this point. The ring's a little lower than it should be. As you okay, do you shove your way through, or do you try to get a higher vantage point, or how do you
I'll shove my way
to go
through.
see? As you
Mack's
sort
been
of ask
looking
at
for
the edge, essentially, it's like, "Where's Lady K?" And there's someone just basically just motions, like points at the center of the ring.
Is she in the center of the ring?
I'm saying you can't see from here. The ring's slightly too low. It's like at ground floor level rather than being raised up above where people can see.
Gotcha.
So the crowd sort of cuts off your view. So whoever's fighting in there is like probably human size or smaller, so you can't actually see them through the crowd at the moment. You can see people hanging from like curtains, and what little bit of rigging basically hangs the chandeliers in the ceiling towards the edge, trying to get a view over the crowd at the moment. Some people are sort of stacked on top of each other's shoulders, hooting and hollering. So some people have a view at this point. Do you want to try any of these methods of trying to see what's going on?
Can Dirk
Matt,
get through because he can pass through other people's spaces because he's so small? Can he like ooze under between legs and through and see if he can get up to see?
You shovel your Dirk basically slips through various people's legs, and eventually, after getting, you only get kneed in the face once for 4 points of damage. Is like, damn it. You eventually arrive at the edge of the ring. There's this burly-looking bald human and this tiny little fairy in like a one-piece jumpsuit, essentially with that sort of stops at her the mid thigh and comes up just above her breast, and just like you see this petite black-haired, black-eyed fairy with like little dealy bobber antennas, essentially that have little point like black stars at their points, and a black pair of butterfly wings kicking the ass of this human that is easily like 100 times her size.
So Dirk's gonna use telepathy to tell you guys what he's seeing.
It's like,
So, and he's gonna recommend that we wait until she's finished because she looks like she's.
yeah, as Dirk now is close enough can hear the high pitched voice of the fairy go as she's going smack 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 smack. It's like, who's the lady again? Like, say it again.
Oh my god, I love her already.
Sweet thing or not, as she basically suplexes this guy. Well, bam!
The visual on this is hilarious because she's a tiny sized entity, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like Tinkerbell just taking somebody
Yes.
and going bam, bam, bam.
All right, there's like,
Or can I get
all
on?
right, folks, it's like the lady of the house. Looks like the lady of the house wins again. If you bet on the lady of the house, collect your chits over at the collect your winnings over at the cage. If not, essentially, welcome to Lady K's, as the announcer basically rings the bell 3 times. Match is over. As people start grumbling and start heading out, because I think the general mood of the crowd is like most people bet on the big guy.
Bad idea.
Dummies. Never bet against the house.
You can see Lady K in her corner at this point. She has a like miniature sized cigar that she's just, like blowing smoke rings with at the moment, as she's chugging down a bottle of bourbon.
A tiny
Beautiful.
bottle of bourbon. I love it.
Oh, the symbol of bourbon.
So if the crowd's dispersing, are they able to come up?
It's
and
dispersing at
we
this
can
point.
collect
Lady K
their
is just
drink?
sort of hanging out in her corner, enjoying a cigar and drinking a bottle of bourbon. It's just, the bottle of bourbon, by the way, is like a full normal sized bottle of bourbon. Is it?
So it's like
twice
this.
the size?
It's the size of her.
Bigger than her, I bet. Yeah.
You're not exactly sure where the bourbon is going, but you can see the level of the bourbon going down.
It's an impressive display, my lady.
Aw. I love like the idea of just like a hummingbird effect sort of thing.
Yeah.
Boy, you look like a big fella, you hairy brute. You want to get in the ring with me?
Uh-oh.
Maybe I do. I'm up for a good tussle.
No, you're gonna
Come on, hop on over. Promise not to break any bones.
Then I'll hop on.
You
in the ring.
managed to knock me on my ass 3 times essentially. I'll even pay you some money.
Well, I'm in for a good time.
Oh no.
Can I sing and give them an inspiration?
She sort of graciously flies up to the top rope and lifts the top rope up for you, so you can like slide in.
Can I like close into the ring? Because I just realized I have like I don't know if saving throws are at all needed.
Oh,
but I
your
realized
aura protection. So if you're within 10 feet, then they get a +3. Is it
Yep.
on their throw?
So long as you're effective, you cover maybe about half the ring essentially with your. They'll be, unless you're gonna zoom around the ring continuously. He'll be in and out of your protection zone, but it'll help some of the time. So.
So Mac, try and stay on that side, right?
I mean, Lady K, no ill will. This just seems like a potentially fun time that I'm willing to
no, absolutely.
indulge
A
her.
way to cheer her up, yeah.
Exactly.
If she beats you and you're a
Yeah.
good sport, that sounds like a good way to get to know her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, you fight clean.
Yeah, I'll fight. Well,
Right.
unless I see her starting to fight dirty, which, being a Winter Court Fae, I will. It's definitely not unbeknown to me that it's on the table, but I'll start off above the board at least.
Okay. She flies straight in and basically tries to punch you in the crotch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, right. Go ahead and roll a dex save for me.
Is this one that I can see?
Yeah, you can see it just fine.
Got it.
Wait.
Oh, wait, do I have that yet? Yes, I do. 19.
19. All right, you basically turn your hip at the last second, and she bruises you for a little bit of damage. It's like, sharp eyes. All right, this is gonna be a good tussle. As she basically gets into a wrestler stance in middle air, as her butterfly wings are sort of turn into a black blur behind her back.
Do you want me to keep track of damage for this, Lawrence?
No, we're just gonna roll successive
Gotcha.
skill checks essentially. Okay, so pick a skill that you want to use, and Joe pick a skill that she wants to use, and we're gonna contest essentially this round.
Well, I'm good at grappling, so that's athletics, isn't it?
Yes.
I would like to rage.
Yes, you can rage.
25. 19 plus 6.
Dang.
All right. You even out basically as you basically lock up, and as locking up to her is a little hard essentially. You're trying to keep your thumb from getting bent the wrong way essentially as you have a good grip on her at this point basically, but she's trying to like bend your fingers the wrong way.
You're a tough one, little lady.
She's like, as you're basically both struggling for the first round as you sort of circle each other. Some onlookers are coming. Some of onlookers are coming back. It's like her quarterman is back at this point. It's like, Lady K, I thought we were only going to do one fight for the evening. Essentially, we didn't even set up bets. It's like this is pure pleasure. Just keep the guests entertained. It's like,
keep the cameras rolling. Wait, what's a camera?
all right.
As I look at the fourth wall.
Next round, what are you doing?
I don't know, grapple and pin. That's my entire tactic.
Okay, you're gonna try to basically. All right, so as you try to basically shove her into the ground and basically use your full weight on top of her, let's see here.
Is this another athletics check or something else?
You can use athletics or whatever you like, really. You can use two hit rolls if you're gonna actually do striking. You can use athletics if you want to use athletic for grappling.
I'm not trying to like damage. Like I'm not going for the kill or anything. I'm mainly, like as she said, trying to pin. And I'm not being like gentle or anything, but I'm not going for her throat by any means. I got a 20 to try and like pin her down.
Like, make it look good, but then let her win. That'll put her in a good mood.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting up a fight.
I know.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Yeah, don't try too hard.
It depends on how depends on how it goes.
Okay. She manages to lever a little closer to your face and like grab a handful of your whiskers and hair and yank them all out. You're like, that stings. As you okay, so you take what is it? Let's see here, 26 damage, halves 13 damage as she effectively goes for 2 strikes.
That wasn't very
She basically
nice.
grabs out a big handful of hair out from your right next to your whiskers and basically bonks you straight in the nose. Essentially, it's like there's a sort of like you're going, I think you deviated my septum. That sucked. That sucked. But you manage to basically like sort of give her the people's elbow as you basically stick her in an armpit and basically go,
that's gotta suck.
Okay, she sort of squirts out of there basically like a water balloon and like bounces off the edge of the ring as you start circling each other again for the third round.
That's got to give some odor damage. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I had a proper like human bath.
Do we all still have audio?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
It was a little quiet there
so
for a
what are
second.
you doing next, essentially?
In this case, I'm going to try and pardon my vocabulary. Tag team her with my echo because as I'm an echo fighter knight,
Exactly.
and like what's the word? The thing, I can't fucking remember the name of the move, where it's two people from both sides clothesline at once.
Okay, so you're gonna double lariat.
Yeah, that's what it is. Double lariat
Okay.
her with my echo.
Okay, so go ahead and roll to hit twice, and I will do her thing.
They got a 24 and a 16. Double lariat, like, try and, like, pin her with my echo between my hands so she can't get away.
Okay.
So instead
You
of two hands,
effectively
it's
try
like,
to just like high five your echo essentially with Lady K in the middle.
Yeah.
You're a little off essentially, and your hands basically like clip off each other as you only one of your hands manages to clip Lady K.
so I
Your phone doesn't
essentially,
manage to
instead
clip
of
Lady K.
lariating her, I
Lady
just
K,
smack her.
Lady K is basically like her. She goes flying into a corner basically as you do manage a solid smack on her as she crashes into the corner, and she does basically like a spinning circle kick in the air basically, and flips backwards and catches you under your jaw for 24 points of damage. For so you take 12 of that. You go flying into the air and like out of the ring. It's going. Wow, it's just like Lady K is superhumanly strong, but that was sort of obvious earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Mack is just
it's
laughing
like
the entire
Lady K
time.
waves you back in. It's like one more and you win. So that's if you're still conscious. Come on back into the ring. It's just...
Mack will kick up and sort of like snarl and just like bound over the ropes of the ring and like just get into a ready stance because
All right.
he's enjoying this.
All right, she goes for another wrestling match with you. So athletics if you want to test her that way, or
Yep.
whatever else you're gonna do.
One last athletics check.
Okay. Well, she rolled really bad, so
I got a
probably gonna win this.
16.
All right, so you leap over the ropes, basically, sort of do a flying. Basically, you just basically land like belly flop straight on top of her. She was like getting ready to wrestle you, and it's like, oh shit! And then you pancake her into the canvas. She's like, you see her basically army crawl out from underneath from Mack's bulky fur at this point. She's like,
I'll like
sort of
roll
spitting
over
out
onto my side.
little gray bits of fur. All right.
I'll roll over onto my side, just like, hey, that was pretty fun.
Right.
You're good at this.
She holds out her hand to shake at this point. Good match.
Good match.
All right.
Tango with you anytime.
All right.
I spit out.
She like shakes your pinky vigorously, and you feel something like dislocate in your pinky for like 5 points of damage. It's like, ow. It's like,
I will.
She sort of vigorously shakes your pinky with both hands. You're kind of the feeling she didn't do that on purpose, but it's just like,
I get it.
Like,
I get it.
You're sticking your pinky back into joint. All right, get my new friends here some drinks. It's like, shall we retire to my private room?
Let's go.
Obviously came here for a reason.
You'd be right about that, miss.
All right.
And
so you retire back to. There's a little tiny desk on top of a giant, like, big desk. So it's like a miniature on top of a big desk that Lady K sits at. There's a sort of like put upon human gentleman that with a pair of spectacles that sort of like pinches on his nose, a sort of graying blonde hair, a scraggly beard. He probably would have been handsome when he was younger. Now he just sort of looks worn down. Let's put it that way, rather than distinguished. He has big bags under his eyes. He's sort of scratching behind his ear incessantly. It's like, Lady K, should we really be taking in more strays at this point? It's like, if there
Why?
weren't any strays, essentially, we would have no interesting clientele at all. So, tell me, what can I help you with? It's like, you've pleasured me well, so why don't I pleasure you?
Oi, watch your tone, miss. We're actually here on some business, but it was a good time.
Hey, Al, this is a good time to give her the present. So, Dirk is gonna telepathy that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Oh.
We're also come bearing a gift.
Right, you fumble it onto her desk because you're just that sort of person.
She probably
It's like the crystal spider rattles out of the little velvet bag and skitters across the desk over to Lady K, who like stops it with her foot. She's like, "Hey, an assassin spider. I haven't seen one of these in years. I think I broke my last one. They're kind of fragile, but I appreciate that. Thank you."
We didn't really have any use for it, so thought you might like it.
You have the activation word? And she basically sort of rummages. You see her ass sticking out of the velvet bag at this point, as she's sort of rummaging around in the bag, and eventually pulls out a piece of paper. Oh, here it is. Right.
Oh, I was gonna have a panic attack.
She activates it and starts writing it around on her desk at this point.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's a good look for you.
Well, this is a lovely, lovely toy. Essentially, make a good mount. Like bite people that I don't like. But well, what's not to like about assassin spiders? So tell Lady K basically what she can do for you.
I leave that to the smarter people.
I just ask. I walk back out the room and ask one of the waiters if they can just bring me a bag of ice because my everything hurts.
Okay.
Krishana, do you wanna present her case?
I will curtsy to Madame K and say, "Greetings, miss. We were looking to acquire some black fairy dust."
Well, that's easy. It's like she sort of she turns around, shakes her tush, and some black coal dust basically like falls on the table from her wings. Essentially, there, take it.
Whoa.
All right, I'll scoop some up in a vial. Is this going to be enough to disenchant 20 people?
Oh, if you need that, oh geez, that might take some effort. It's like,
I walk back in with the ice.
What do you need that amount of fairy dust for?
Some vampires up in the North Ward have roughly a whole block of people brainwashed.
Oh, so hey, you've met the Davenports then?
Very.
They're up to some nasty business, killing people.
They're always up to some nasty business. They also pay well if you but I guess it all depends on whether or not you do shady business with basically nefarious beings from other dimensions.
If they left well enough alone, I would have been fine with them, but they've been killing people left and right, just innocents.
They released something that was very nasty.
Yeah,
so that's what that nasty smell is all over Southwark.
You feel it, don't you?
Yeah, I do feel it.
The Hermes people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're just trying to help the people out that got brainwashed and rolled.
They were importing in extra vampires too. I'm not sure quite what they have planned, but they were bringing in a bunch of extra, and it looks like we've gotten that stopped. But I'm not sure how many were already here already.
Well,
so we're just trying to help.
If you haven't noticed, I also deal on the shady side of the law here.
So do most of us. Doesn't mean we can't try to do the right thing.
All right.
It doesn't mean we have to be against each other, right? Because
that too.
This thing that they have released looks like it's going to be bad for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
me as her friend.
Does make sense. So, anyways, if I help you out, it'll take me an hour or more essentially to produce the amount of fairy dust that you want. So I don't tend to keep it around in vials, so
understandable.
Are there any favors that we could do for you?
Oh, well, you did me a great favor. Worked out that kink in my back. I really appreciated that. And you've
Oh.
given me a nice gift. So
Nope,
I
no
think
problem.
I think it's a fair trade. The assassin spider for a couple vials of my own of black fairy dust.
I'm happy to come back and tussle any time. That was great. Oh,
Is there anything we need to know about how it would work to disenchant them? Do we need to do anything?
You simply sprinkle a pinch of it over the target, and it should remove most fairy charms.
Okay, great.
Most of you are sort of realizing Lady K is probably the most straightforward, like, fae you've ever met ever. So it's
Love it.
like, all right, well, let's seal the deal here. Like, Eric, get everybody a drink. Like, as Eric pulls out a whole bunch of shot glasses and pours everybody a stiff drink of some potent liquor. You could just at this point you sniff it and it just smells like alcohol. It smells like nothing else. It's like the Lady K holds up her shot glass with both hands, like empties it like a bucket into her throat, and it's like the deal well struck, essentially.
So we got an hour here.
Oh, feel free to entertain yourselves. I'll even tell the pleasure girls and boys to give you a discount.
Krishana will go look for a couple to entertain herself with.
Okay.
At this point, Mack is just in pain and keeping his new friend company while she shakes her ass, more or less.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
Dirk would like
Roll wisdom save, Mac, as you spend time with Lady K.
Luckily, I'm okay at these. 18.
Okay. She does try her best to enthrall you, and it's not that you're not tempted. It's just that like I got other things to be doing right now.
Can't be doing this right now. Maybe later. Later.
All right.
I think
Everybody
Dirk,
notices, however, basically Mac like floats like. Mac doesn't notice it himself, but he's like floating like 6 inches off the ground. Essentially, once he leaves Lady K's office.
I think Dirk would like to sort of scope around and see if he can overhear anything or find out any intel from the clients or the people that are working there.
Okay,
Can
fair
I
enough.
follow Dirk?
Right.
You can try.
Al is sort of ditfully following along. Big is Al, by the way.
Clunk, clunk,
Oh,
clunk.
We look
clunk.
interesting together since Dirk is a
Okay,
half.
so Al is a behemoth of a woman. Okay, so all right, so the Al basically like stares at people far too intently as Dirk is trying to go somewhere else, go somewhere.
Al, look at that pretty shiny over there. Can you go see what that is?
Yes. Just anything away from the people. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, check out that shiny over there.
Al happens to see in a corner a somebody that is like sort of deep in their drinks and basically sobbing at this point. Maybe they need to be redeemed.
So yeah, can Owl just like go like kind of just like look over and like scope like
Pat.
talkability of this person?
Yeah, they seem to be basically crying into their drink at the moment. There's this younger man, essentially, moderately handsome, human, brown hair, like noble's clothing. He's just like he's making the sort of herk sounds every so often from sobbing into his drink.
Are you okay? Do you like your drink salty?
I could be better.
It looks like it. You okay? You want to talk?
No, I'm not. I'm pretty far from okay. I think I lost my family's fortune at this point, so Nothing to be done
Oh
except for drinking the sorrow away.
no! How'd that happen? If you don't mind my asking.
Oh, well. My family deals with portside insurance. Not a. You'd think that wouldn't be a particularly risky business, but we've been unlucky. We've been unlucky. Like the Davenport's a Davenport shipment was raided by the Crown recently. All the cargo confiscated, so we've had to pay damages back to the Davenports at this point.
Oh. Oh, that's fun. Well, so it got raided by the Crown, and now you're having to pay the Davenport.
Yes,
Sorry.
we were foolish enough to insure their shipment.
Oh no. And then Oh, if you don't mind me asking, how did like you come into contact with the Davenports? Did they like approach you? Did you approach that, or like did your family approach them? Sorry.
We had heard that the Davenports were seeking an insurer for their shipment. Uh, they had an excellent track record of success on their maritime affairs, so we didn't feel that anything bad could happen. But now we're now, unfortunately, as I had convinced my father that this would be a good investment, and lo and behold, it wasn't.
Yeah. I guess they didn't. I guess the record didn't really show how risky it could potentially be, and you know what they were shipping, right?
No, not at all, really. So the authorities are being very very tight-lipped. Other than saying it was contraband.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I heard too. My goodness. Is there any have you talked to them recently about all of this? Like and what's going on?
Oh, they've been out of town recently. The only person I've been able to talk to is their lawyer, and their lawyer is very insistent that we pay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's no fun at all.
Yeah, so I'm to basically hand over my family fortunes this very evening. So as soon as I'm finished with my last drink here at 10 bells, I'm to deliver the payment. So
Oh, do you need any help with anything, even like emotional support?
well, you seem like a nice miss. If you'd be willing to accompany me, I'd enjoy the company.
Yeah, I'd love to come in and help where I can. It's kind of
So tell me,
I guess
miss,
it's like support staff.
you seem to be a worshiper of the one God. What are you have you taken holy orders? I.e., are you a member? Are you a nun? Are you?
Yeah, I'm a nun. Yeah, totally.
That's a pity. You're very beautiful. You're very beautiful.
Aw, thank you. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's not my thing. But I'm good at emotional support.
Well, I appreciate it then. Uh, all right. I've got about 30 minutes here as he's looking at his pocket watch before I need to head out. Can I get you a drink?
Oh, do they serve apple juice here?
Serve anything you really like. Fruit juices from as far away as Constantinople and Zambia.
So they could have pineapple juice?
I'm
Ooh.
sure they
Pineapple
would.
juice is the
Like
shit.
he motions over for waitress. Mentions that he would like a tall glass of pineapple juice, and the waitress disappears and comes back momentarily with a tall glass of iced pineapple juice.
Does it have an umbrella?
Yes, it has a little tiki umbrella on it.
Of course
Yay!
it does.
Are we playing D&D? Then the answer is yes.
Yes. All right.
It's just
Al is sipping at it at this point. Is Al actually a lightweight, essentially?
yeah, I don't think she's had a drink of alcohol in her life.
Okay. So,
Or like maybe some wine at like communion, but like even then, I feel like they would sneak her grape juice because I don't think they trust her with wine.
All right,
The
Al.
power to
Al
smite.
Al is feeling all warm and happy because it's like there's like like a shot of vodka mixed in there.
Oh no!
I mean, it still tastes good.
Well, it's probably like a shot of rum. Let's put it this way, since you have a tropical drink technically.
Yeah, rum sounds better.
Okay.
Oh, this
All right,
smells.
but it's completely unnoticeable over the very sweet pineapple juice. So I'm just like
Oh no!
Al is basically sitting there like happily bobbing back and forth, bobbing up and down in her chair. It's
Yes,
like
yes. That's all I want.
And then
all right, so Al
Zumlar.
has something interesting at this point. Dirk, sort of listening around. There's all sorts of business dealings going on around here. It's like people are discussing shipments, making contracts. Essentially, there's a lot of it's esoterically interesting insofar as that this is wealthy people business, and there's even mentions of contracts for the crown and supply providing supplies to the army and the church, and so people around here are movers and shakers. What particular group are you interested in? There's essentially the people that support. There's apparently a large faction that supports the Church of the One True God, and perhaps ridding the South Wark of the Fae. There's one group that is effectively just talking business, like maritime business, and there's a third group that, as far as I can tell, is like all locked away into private rooms where prying ears cannot hear, and so those are the sort of three groups in Lady K's at the moment.
Well, we've been hearing a lot about the faction with the one true God trying to get rid of the Fae. Maritime business sounds, unless they're importing vampires, not so much. But the ones that are trying to be secretive, I wouldn't mind seeing if I could get some ears on that.
Okay, roll me a d20 because there's quite a lot of like secret dealings. There's easily like 30 rooms in the back that that have various meetings in them. You sort of end up wandering, and you can't check them all without being like super suspicious. So you end up having to just like pick two or three of them.
Yeah, I rolled a 10.
Okay, you're listening at the door here. Roll a perception check for me, DC 16.
That's a 22.
Okay, so you listen at the door. There's muffled voices on the other side. A sort of gruff sounding man, and a sort of what you're guessing is probably a middle-aged younger man. They seem to be discussing the current. What is it? If there's anything that can be done to profit from the current plague of dead horses that is striking South Wark and like beginning to creep into the North Ward. It's like perhaps we should start up our sanitation business again. And it definitely sounds like sanitation in air quotes. Like
Cool.
during these periods of times, like, nobody really notices when people disappear. Like, I'm sure the order won't. This would be an excellent time to get new recruits, involuntary recruits for the order.
I wonder if this is some of the Eye of Hermes.
It's possible. Let's see here. You're sort of looking through the keyhole. You can see one sort of like extremely sort of like heavy set man with a like handlebar mustache and wearing a black bowler hat. You sort of see him in profile. His face is like baby. He's sort of baby faced essentially. If we didn't have facial hair, he'd look he'd look like a giant child. He's sort of dressed in his his suit and pants are immaculate and well tailored to his extremely large frame. Uh, he's talking to you can see can't quite see the other person at the other side. You can only see their hands, but their hands are extremely pale and tipped with claws. You're going, okay, well, this might be a ghoul or a vampire kin. Probably not one of the Davenports themselves, but you doubt the Davenports are in town at the moment. But the person at the other side and then you see there's. All right, hold on a second. Roll a stealth roll for me while you're at your post. Okay. All right, you're gonna have to roll magic dice at this point to not get spotted because I rolled a 20.
Oh yeah, I only got a 19.
Okay, so at this point the sort of hefty individual cocks his ear for a second. It's like you see him stand up and head for the door as you start backing away from the door. The door swings out violently. Make me a dex save.
That's a 12. Am I within 10 feet of Al at this point?
No, Owl is off basically having a conversation with a lovely younger gentleman, essentially, and bouncing up and down in her seat at the moment.
Okay, so that's a 12.
All right, so you the door catches you pretty much straight in the face as you're sort of like backpedaling away. It's like you see him make a sudden move for the door and slam it open, swing it open violently. The door like cracks you in the face for 8 points of damage. It's like as you sort of tumble backwards and roll back up to your feet. And what are you doing at that point? The hefty looking gentleman, you're guessing. Okay, that all that bulk is not fat; it is muscle. As it's like he's sort of just like he's round around the middle, but he's probably like powerful like a power lifter. As you definitely got the nasty end of that door being swung open. Like
I think Dirk is gonna sneeze violently. And he's gonna like sort of feel his nose and look at his hand to see if he's got blood coming out of it. And go,
little bit
where's
of
the
blood.
fire?
The hefty individual, his eyes narrow as he closes on you to grab you at this point. Now what are you doing?
Um. I'm gonna send up Mage Hand to like tickle his ear, and I'm gonna go try and duck behind something. I can.
All right, so whatever you want to use for like to get out of his grapple, essentially.
Okay.
So he's gonna roll athletics, and you roll whatever you want to defend yourself with.
Okay, we'll do acrobatics,
Okay.
and that's 23.
Ooh.
All right. You're glad basically there was a table nearby as you tuck and roll under the table. You could feel his fingertips like brush the back of your jacket as he barely misses grabbing you as the table basically gets knocked out of the way. It's like the you see the hefty gentleman basically bark something to the person behind. Just like block the front door. Looks like I'm gonna have to go catch a rat.
Oh no.
As let's see here.
So Dirk, does he have an opportunity to use disguise self?
Yeah, you can use disguise self, so that you could easily lose them essentially. So I assume you look like not a halfling at this point because that
exactly.
still being short would still probably give you away because there's not many short people in here. Okay, because the clientele is almost all human.
I can be a foot taller,
Okay,
and I could
so
be
you
fat.
appear to
I could be
be
fat and a foot taller,
okay.
and lots of hair, like hair coming out of my ears, and like
Okay,
crazy eyebrows that wave in the breeze.
all right. Well, let's put it this way. Basically, you probably don't
Beautiful.
want to. You still probably want to look moderately attractive because everybody else is attractive. You would stick out like a sore thumb if you looked weird.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe not quite so hirsute then.
Okay. All right. So you essentially become a sort of a nondescript woman, essentially a shortish woman, that you grab a tray of drinks and start carrying them off. Uh, there his partner, this guy's partner in crime is indeed a sort of Nosferatu-looking bastard with like scraggly grayish black hair that sort of goes from like black at the top to gray at its tips. As uh, he could pass for human if he didn't open his mouth, essentially. But every so often, you see him lick his lips, and you see like jagged, like rows of shark-like teeth in his mouth, line his mouth. This individual seems to wander through the crowd, and everybody sort of magically parts like water, like the Red Sea, as he passes by, and then sort of like goes back to what they were doing. You're going, as that guy basically heads straight for the front door to intercept people leaving. The hefty individual basically continues to scan their bordello essentially for Dirk at this point, not exactly finding what he's looking for though.
So Dirk's gonna go ahead and use telepathy to sort of send out a warning, and like, Zumlar, what are you up to? Can you help me with this situation here?
Yeah, I'll be close by, so I'll
Okay,
rush
so
for it.
Zumlar, you meet up with Zumlar at this point. The two of you are together. Okay, so let's see here. Mack, you heal. Well, never mind. I guess you don't heal. You get 8 temporary hit points for sharing a couple very stiff drinks with Lady K.
All right.
It's like as you're after the third drink, you're not feeling any pain anymore. So it's like, this is not bad.
This'll do.
Al is curious why Zumlar is with this weird woman she's never seen Zumlar with before.
Yeah, she's like, okay, what's going on over there? Just like very distracted now from the conversation, but still kind of like bobbling back and forth.
Okay. And then Krishana, of course, is basically having a good old time basically with her threesome.
Do they tell
Okay.
her anything interesting, or it's all fun?
It's all fun and games.
Okay.
Let's see, Krishana, let's see, roll a d20 for me for what Wheel of Fortune of drugs basically you take while you're here.
I got an 18.
Not
18.
bad.
Okay.
Oh dang!
Good stuff.
That was probably some of the most pleasurable times you've had. Essentially, you feel confident and great about yourself. It could be just the drugs, but you get a +2 charisma bonus for the until I say it's gone, effectively.
Cut to next week. Lawrence forgets about it. It's never gone. You now have +7 charisma.
Shh. Shh. Don't tempt him.
Okay, so you get +2 to your charisma as a temporary boost. You're not quite sure when that's going to go away, but basically you feel good about yourself right now. All right, so Zumlar and Dirk, what are you doing at this point? Are you collecting the rest of your team? Are you trying to take care of this on your own, or what?
Is Max still in with Lady K?
Mack is still in with Lady K.
Unless
so
I'm called for, I'm basically kind of out.
I'm thinking there's a back way out of this place. Obviously.
Al, you two notice essentially Al was getting up with that sort of sandy brown haired individual and heading out the front door at this point.
Hey, Al.
The sort of like pasty skinned white individual, pasty white skinned individual. Was like, you know, Al, to you and your benefactor here. He looks like a urbane, middle-aged gentleman with white hair, with a white salt and pepper hair. His skin looks normal. It's like, sir and miss, it's like, there are pickpockets on the premises. I'm a detective. I'm looking for Halfling about yay tall. He pretty much describes Dirk to a T. It's like, you wouldn't happen to have seen them, would you?
Cole just like pauses for a second. It's like, have you seen a halfling around here? Like, I haven't seen anyone.
Like, well, your benefactor is going, no, I haven't really. So, and the miss here, Miss Owl here, has been with me the whole evening. So, we would have seen the same thing.
I've seen maybe I can look around and help.
Is Al oblivious to basically that Dirk is in trouble at this point, or are you actually looking to help Dirk out?
I kind of want to help Dirk out, and I'm kind of trying to pass it off so I can like walk around and like try to see if I can find someone to talk to about the halfling, and then just see like what I can do.
You turn around. You're looking over there. It's like Zumlar is hanging around with this short blonde woman over there. Never seen that short blonde woman before. But you have
got telepathy,
you have a sneaking suspicion, basically, Dirk might have disguised himself.
Yeah, Dirk's definitely using telepathy to tell people what's going on, all the team. Because I think.
Okay, so everybody knows at this point. So
now, Al, did you tell us about the young man and the insurance and everything?
I have not yet, because I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys.
Okay,
Mack,
you
Mack
have
will
that.
just-
You have that moment now, essentially. So it's like,
Okay,
okay, so everybody gets the telepathic bat signal at this point. It's like, hey, let's meet up again.
Yeah, I think we need to collect the
Krishana-
dust and get out of here, and then let's go try and meet the Davenport's lawyer. Maybe we can help this young man, but I think we need to see who this lawyer is, don't you think?
Krishana comes down the stairs with a big sort of rainbow feather boa wrapped around her neck and a sort of like shit-eating grin on her face. The owl sort of like incessantly down, and like the.
So can I like encourage him towards like my friends, sort of thing? Be like, hey, can I talk to my friends real quick though? They might know something, sort of thing. So like, just bring them over. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you seem like a competent band of freelancers. I could always use the help.
Yeah.
So-
No, let's go talk to my friends.
All right, so you go talk to her friends. All of you at this point can see the hefty human individuals. He stands like 6'8". He's the size of an ogre, almost as wide as an ogre too. He's like he seems to have a narrow scowl at the lot of you at this point, as he seems to have recognized your group together at this point, as if you have some amount of notoriety with the probably Order of Hermes.
Oh, lovely.
Now that you're all together, he recognizes you.
It's not like they haven't been scrying on us.
Yes.
I will step in front of Owl and
you see, all of you sort of see him make a curt gesture to the guy at the front. The sort of like the human guy with the sort of like skunk stripe in his black hair. Only Dirk, for whatever reason, can actually see him as he actually is, and you're not exactly sure why that is.
So to us, he looks just like an
he looks like a
investigator.
human with a basically like a skunk stripe of white hair down the middle of his scalp. He's otherwise dressed like a like well-to-do Victorian gentleman in black and with silver buttons on his jacket. The hefty individual and the slimmer-looking black-haired individual both look at you and then head out the front door.
Both of the two that Dirk was listening to head out the front door?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
As if they recognize, it's like, perhaps we should leave. We are outnumbered.
Ooh.
Well, I'm glad, because I I didn't want to bust up Madam K's place.
Yeah.
He saw the
Alright,
champ
so-
come out of the ring, or come out of the back, and he knew what was good for him, so he
They may
ran.
try to ambush us.
But they also might be going to get reinforcements and try and catch us on the in the alley. So I think we need to be careful.
Skedaddle a little bit. Or at
I
least
will.
stop.
I will curtsy to Miss K as I leave, and I'll say, "I'll catch you later."
Should we find a back exit?
Oh, in that case, I will double back to Miss K and ask her, "Do you got a back exit anywhere?
Course,
Might have stirred
we're
up some
not,
trouble in the front."
nothing is not discreet when customers require it. Head over to the bar and they'll show you the way out.
Excellent.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, so the bartender like yanks a torch sconce and a secret door opens up. Otherwise,
Secret tunnel.
Passageway. The door at the other end will open on its own and shut it on its own. That'll take you out to the back alleyway.
I'll tip him a gold
take
and
take the
tip my
alleyway to your
metaphorical
right.
hat.
And take a left, and that will take you to the. That will take you. What is it? To the back side of the city wall. Follow the city wall around, and you head back to Main Street.
Thank you kindly, sir. I'll tip him a gold and tip my metaphorical hat on my way out.
Okay. So let's see here. Krishana, you spend 50 gold on an evening's entertainment. The rest of you spend let's say 5.
And I'll pay 6 for the because I
Okay.
tipped him.
All right, so you head off into the night. The two orders of Hermes individuals. You don't see them again during this evening. Your benefactor is named Frederick Bertolio. He runs B&B Insurance. It's Bernard and Bertolio Insurance. He's effectively the eldest son of Bertolio Senior. Right. So, kind of you to come along with me on this short jaunt here. It's like, well, he pulls out he basically goes up to his gas lamp, pulls out a checkbook, checks to make sure that he has some checks in it, closes the sort of leaf wallet and sticks it back into his jacket. It's like, all right, well, let's be on our way. It's like,
For all
Just
intents and
wondering
purposes,
if they were shipping contraband that was seized by the crown, if that's an insurable event, or if there were riders in the contract that might have had to do with acts of war or violations of laws.
well, this is the problem. The crown doesn't view the magisters of the crown don't view it this way. It's like doing business essentially with smugglers is considered like treason against the crown. It's like
Okay.
failure to pay taxes and all that other lot. So I've already brought it up with our family's barrister. At this point, we have no recourse in the courts. So we must pay the Davenports out at this point. It's like ill-gotten gains and illegal dealings basically are not the purview of the crown, apparently.
I'm wondering
Is
if something happens to this attorney. I bet you if we grabbed him, that he probably has a lot of information for our friends, the battle mistress and police. And
you make a good point.
he never
Well-
comes back with the money. No, who's to say you didn't give it to him?
True.
The
I don't
irony
know
of the
I don't know the providence of this particular barrister we're going to, whether or not he's well connected or not. But do as you please. It's like I simply appreciate the company on this dark night.
Yeah, I think could always.
I think we need information from this barrister if he's acting for the Davenports because they're involved in some horrible things that are causing a lot of problems in London right now, and we need.
we might be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
He may be able to give us a lot of information, and if we can help you along the way, that's the right thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah, like
so,
if there's information, there's recourse for retaining money of some sort for assisting in catching a crime or solving a crime. I don't know.
Possibly. We
Turn it
shall
off.
see. He flags down a black cab, a Johnny cab from the front of Lady K's. You all load in. He pays the drover, the coachman, as you zoom off into the night, heading to the north ward. You cross the Thames about sort of midway through South Warwick on bridge, probably around bridge 6 or 7 of the 13 bridges that sort of cross the Thames on the South Warwick side, uh, and eventually arrive at a sort of a Victorian brownstone that's offset front street, maybe about by 20 feet, with a steep staircase leading up to a iron wrought door. Frederick rings the bell. There's no signage on the front of this building, but it definitely is a business place of business. Let's put it that way. That because it doesn't have frilly drapes out front. Essentially, it has sort of utilitarian like linen curtains. The type of thing basically that no respectable homemaker would basically put in the front of their house. The a rail thin individual answers the door, sort of like sort of off reddish brown hair, sits in a messy mop on top of his head, is sort of capped in a messy man bun. It looks like he hasn't. It looks like he hasn't been sleeping well for a long time, as there's dark circles under this individual's eyes, maybe about mid-30s. He waves you in. It's like you notice like sort of greasy stains on his jacket, as if he had eaten or not laundered this piece of clothing in a long bit, but probably more than a week.
Knock,
He
knock!
waves
Open up
you
the
over
door.
to
It's real.
a back room and sits Frederick down at a desk. All right, the Davenports have okay. The requested payout is 10,000 crowns. I'm assuming you're going to write me a check for this amount of money. I'm a notary essentially for the crown. Essentially, I will mark it with my seal and deliver your payment to the Davenports as arranged.
So wait, the lawyer or this guy works for the crown, but yeah, he's dealing with criminals.
No, he's just a lawyer. Essentially, he's a certified notary, effectively. So.
So it sounds like
Right.
it's sort of like money laundering, and that this is from a nefarious business, but it's going to be notarized as regular legal tender for the payment.
Yes, exactly. All right. All right, Mr. Bertolio. Essentially, no time like the present. Please sign over the check for 10,000 crowns.
So much for insurance.
Wasn't a. That's a small pittance for insurance, ma'am. Essentially, most ships are insured for 20 to 30,000 crowns.
Does this guy smell like vampire at all, or is he just a lawyer?
You figure all lawyers smell like vampires, but
Fair point.
okay, but yes, he actually does. He has that sort of like off-putting, basically sickly lavender scent that all the Davenports have. So he must deal with the Davenports on a regular basis. If you want to, as Al, you can always use Divine Sense as a paladin to figure out if he is actually undead.
Oh yeah, let me do that. Is that in my spells? I'm sorry.
No, it's just
Yeah,
it's a class ability,
do that as well.
essentially. So
Oh, okay.
you can use your Divine Sense equal number of times to your proficiency plus charisma bonus.
Yeah, so my proficiency is +3, and then my charisma is +9. I think. What? Oh no, that's saving throw. Sorry. My charisma is +3. My proficiency is +3.
But we
Okay,
know you
can
haven't
use
used any
Divine
yet,
Sense a
so
total
you
of
can
6
do it.
times.
Okay.
Okay,
wait,
so
what
Divine Sense allows you to detect other celestials, otherworldly beings, elementals, aberrations, and undead. So, okay, this guy is an aberration, essentially, so he's an unnatural thing.
Okay, I'm not sure. I won't lie. I'm not sure what to do with this.
It means basically he is bad stuff. He is bad news, essentially. He is not human in any way, shape, or form, though he appears to be human. And aberrations means basically he's a monster of some sort.
Not of this world.
So like bad monster. Okay.
Like bad monster, yes.
Bad monster.
So he could be a shapeshifter of some sort. He could be wearing somebody's skin. There's lots of options. Let's put it that way.
Can I nudge Dirk about this, that I can sense this sort of thing?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Dirk can set up the telepathy interchange at this point, as Dirk acts as the telepathy switchboard. It's like
Owl's just like quietly.
Owl is making like weird, like raised eyebrows, basically towards Dirk, and Dirk is like, "What?"
Like,
Owl's waggling, yeah.
A small squeak of like, "Oh no!" Just like Dirk. Like, can I communicate with Dirk verbally, or like?
You can communicate with Dirk telepathically, so you don't even have to say anything.
Dirk, this guy smells like bad.
You are scowling at Dirk really, really hard, and Dirk is just like responds back, "Cut that out, otherwise I'm gonna notice."
Does Zumlar also notice this too? That like there's the sense that the guy is not like who he.
Well, do you want to basically use divine sense? It's like,
Yeah,
you know.
Also use
Okay, so
divine
yes,
sense.
you know. Both of you as paladins are going, this guy is some sort of aberration. It's like, as you're sort of looking at him over a little bit more carefully, it's like his skin hangs a little like loosely on his frame. Essentially, you're noticing there's a little bit of a gap where his like eye and like his eyeball meet, which is like seems a bit larger than it should be. That or he basically is bug-eyed. It's like,
I will just be like trying to quietly get away from this guy and like cringing or like twitching because she just does not like this. She does not. Like, she can't. I'm sorry if that's obnoxious, but.
Zumlar
is basically slowly backing up at this point. Zumlar, what are you doing?
I am tightening my grip on my sword.
Okay.
I don't like this.
I'm
Frederick seems to be oblivious at this point as he's concentrating on signing his check. The barrister at this point pulls out this like big onyx hunk of stone seal, like sticks it, pulls out a candle and basically starts dripping red wax on the contract and check, and then stamps both of them, essentially both the ledger and his and the check with the seal, then breaks off the check bit, leaving half of the seal on the check and half of it on his ledger. It's like, all right, and then folds the whole thing together basically with a thump as he closes his ledger. Thank you for doing the right thing, Mr. Bertolio. You and your friends may leave now.
So Dirk is like gonna back channel, guys. Do we want to jump him here, or do we want to wait and see where he goes to catch up with the Davenports and jump him then?
Well, do you think we're prepared enough to fight the Davenports? Or do we want to get this guy down so we can question him more?
Davenports are out of town. Nowhere to be found, as far as I can tell.
But you already know the Davenports are, quote unquote, out of town, probably at their country mansion in Penrose.
Right? Yeah, they're we got the address from City Hall.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
because they're at none of their other. They're not at their business. They're not at their normal dwelling. So
residence.
The only other house they have is like in Penrose. So it's a good guess they're over there right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking we should try and take this guy on before he hooks up with them. And maybe we can take him in either cancel him out or take him into custody so that the battle mistress can enter.
Yes.
Krishana was in the. Krishana is like, do we have authority to arrest him? It's like, as the two paladins go, he's not. He's some sort of monster under.
This
like,
fucker ain't human. He ain't got right.
I don't think we need authority to arrest him.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have to do.
Should I cast suggestion?
All right. You well, you could go and give it a try, essentially. So Krishana basically sort of gives her best winning smile and shows a bit of cleavage and and tries to mentally sway this individual. About that period of time, basically, something horrific happens as what appears to be this giant humanoid insect sort of like claws its way out of the lawyer's mouth as its sort of skin tears away from the face, revealing this sort of giant
Men in Black
humanoid head and scissor like forearms, and like as everybody goes like, disgusting, disgusting. Okay, so I need what is it? Wisdom saves from everybody as this is terribly frightful.
Yeah, okay, let me pull up saves.
Oh wait, I have
everybody
advantage against
gets
being
down.
frightened.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
everybody gets let's give everybody +3 to their saves at this point.
Alright. So I rolled a 6.
Owl, you're a hoot.
Aw, thank you.
So what's the DC?
The DC is 16.
Well, I still failed, unfortunately.
So
I just
am gonna reuse one of my lucky points. Cause that was not so good.
Yeah, I barely
23.
Oh wait, that's a good point. Do the paladins aura protection stack?
No.
Well, you heard it here,
The
folks.
same class ability does not stack on each other. That's so.
Oh wait.
But it does mean that between the two of them, they can cover 20 feet instead of 10, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Probably your whole team is covered.
Okay, so then I think I rolled a 6 then.
Okay, well, I'm still saying you fail. So
yeah, either way.
Okay, so Dirk. Okay, so
Dirk's
Dirk
got
and
23.
Dirk got 23. Owl is paralyzed by fear at this point. Going,
I got an 11.
It's like Frederick Bertolio is also paralyzed by fear. Zumlar, how you doing?
I got 16.
All right, so you made it exactly. Perfect. Okay. All right. I need initiatives for everybody that did not get feared the first round.
Do I get like opportunities since I already had my hand on my blade and I was ready myself?
I'm saying the situation was frightening enough to basically to put you off your game.
17 for initiative.
All right.
Dirk got 10.
All right. Well, Zumble, you act first anyway. So, by hair's breadth, essentially, you act just before it does. So.
So I do.
Okay, so what do I want to do? So it's behind a desk at this point, but it looks like it's going to leap across and eat somebody. That, or it's going to like try to escape. You're thinking 50-50 either way.
Let's see. Definitely want to smite. What I know of this creature is what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Crap, I can't think.
It does not count as a devil, demon, or undead, if that's what you're asking.
So he does count as a devil, demon, or undead?
He does not count as any of those categories. He's aberration.
So would a moonbeam be
He's not a shapeshifter either, essentially. He's already out of the sky, so that moonbeam doesn't help you in this particular case. It does damage as normal, but I'm just saying it doesn't basically force him back into his true form.
Where's the moonbeam? Moonbeam is my deadliest.
So, Mac, are you frightened?
Aye.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit him with a moonbeam.
All right. Let's see here. All right, so you see it definitely basically zoom over to the side and step out of your moonbeam at the last second, as if it's frighteningly quick. You hear the skittering of basically dozens of legs as more and more legs sort of like pop out from the basically center torso of this thing. It's like disgusting.
So he made a 13?
Yes. Okay, and it skitters out of the way completely, i.e., it has evasion. Okay, so let's see here. Now I think it is its turn.
Yeah, it's its turn.
Ew. Oh.
All right. Okay, Al, do you defend Frederick Bertolio or do you let him get slain?
Him.
Okay, you jump in the way. Okay. You jump in the way because you're armored and Frederick is not, essentially. So.
Yeah.
All right, so
No.
you like two was it 4 sets of like scythe-like claws like stab through your chest as you are like facing Frederick as Frederick is looking shocked as he sees like points of this thing's tips of this thing's arms stab through your chest. You take a total of 34 points of damage.
Great. Okay. Damage. All right.
As you're going, oh, got both lungs. That sucked. As this thing basically is like wielding like owl like a shield, like a human shield at this point.
Great.
All right. Right. Okay, so that was its action. Let's see here. Zumlar, you did your thing. Was anybody else not paralyzed? A tree. You're
Dirk and
Dirk.
Krishana were not, I think. So Dirk is gonna go in to try and get him with his rapier. And that's gonna be a 15 to hit. Does that hit?
All right. The super cockroach like slams Ow in the way of your blade as you stab Ow for 8 points of damage.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna die tonight.
So we're gonna okay, so that's a 24 to hit on the second one. Does that hit?
You manage to stab straight between Owl's legs and get this thing into abdomen. Go ahead and give me damage.
Okay, so well that's 5, and then I can get sneak attack because he's obviously engaged with within 5 feet. So that's another 6, so that's 11 damage.
Okay, so out of curiosity, but I thought you were a rogue. How are you getting 2 attacks?
I am a bard rogue.
Oh, you're a bard. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so
because it's Dirk indirectly. So yeah, I'm bard rogue.
You're mainly bard.
Right
then.
now,
Okay,
I'm mainly bard, but yeah, but rogue's coming along. So now, so that is my action. But for my bonus action, I would like to give bardic inspiration to Owl.
Okay.
So I have that like special thing that zooms around. So they can add a 1d4. I think no, actually it's 1d8 at this point, right? And then whatever they roll, they can add as temporary hit points or add it onto their attack or ability check.
Okay.
So whenever you need to do that.
All right, Krishana.
I am going to fire 2 eldritch blasts at the creature.
Okay.
I got a 18 and a 14 to hit.
Okay, the 18 hits, it has 16 AC, so go ahead and give me damage.
Seven damage and bonus action bardic inspiration Zumlar.
Okay, got it. All right, let's see here. All right, Krishana, let's see here. And then Zumlar, it's your turn.
Alright. Okay, I am going to try cutting off one of its scythe arms.
Okay.
Do 2 attacks. First one is 22. And the second one is 19.
Okay, so hit twice. Go ahead and give me damage.
12.
12 damage. Okay. So you slash at this thing. It's not quite able to deploy Owl as a shield again. As you slash into it deeply twice. Are you gonna use any smites on this or no?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So roll me. Assuming you do 2 smites, give me 4d8 more damage.
18.
18. So you do a total of 30 damage. Okay. So you manage to cut Owl loose completely as you chop off 2 of its arms on one side, and Owl unskewers from the other side. Okay, and then let's see here. Now it is its turn.
How long are they staying frightened?
Say again?
How long do they stay frightened?
They stay frightened 1d4 rounds, so I rolled 3.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Well, this would be a good opportunity to cast Lesser Restoration if you want to remove fear effects, for instance. So,
Oh, can I do that?
or cast Heroism, because that's another bardy thing you can do, right? So,
Yeah, if you have lesser restoration, that'll remove a condition like frightened or blind.
Isn't heroism
Oh,
also
okay.
a paladin thing?
Heroism is Heroism I think is a paladin thing as well as a bard thing. It depends on whether or not you have it in your spell list. Okay, so
I don't think I can cast that.
all right. Okay, it locks up Zumlar. You take 16 points of piercing damage, and then I need a con save as it bites you in the neck.
Con save is 18.
Okay. Something horrific happens as you feel all sorts of like wriggling things basically trying to crawl their way into your neck as you're trying to sweep them away with your gauntlet at this point, as you see all sorts of like white, like pale grubs like squish as you basically and turn into like grayish green goo as you spear them across your breastplate. Okay, so you just take the 16 damage and let's see here, and then 8 more necrotic. Okay, and then it did its thing, so Dirk.
So Dirk's gonna hit with the rapier again. That is a 22 to hit, and then hit with it twice. A crit! A crit! A crit! So, we'll do the first one, which is 18 damage on the first one, and then the second one, upon the crit, is 18 and 15, so that's 20, 33, right? And then I get 1d6 because obviously he's engaged.
Okay.
Double that if it's on the attack that you
stab
crit
this
on.
thing straight through the head at this point, and make a light twist with your rapier as his head pops off its shoulders. And then all its scythe-like arms begin to windmill around violently as it collapses to the ground and continues to twitch. White grubs continue to just like pour out of its neck. Okay, as all of you are suitably going, oh my god, that is the grossest thing I've ever seen. What are you doing next? Some of you are beginning to come to your senses and noticing there's little white worms basically crawling up your boots. And what are you guys doing now?
Can I cast?
Rick at this point basically seems catatonic. Bertolo seems catatonic, just like as he sort of like seems to be caught in a silent scream with his mouth slightly ajar.
I have no mouth and I must scream.
Can I, if I dump a healing potion on him, would that help him, or he's beyond that?
He's not dead. He's just he's effectively paralyzed. So
okay, well, he probably doesn't need to see any of this anyway. Does anybody have prestidigitation? Would that help with these grubs, or they're toxic? Krishana, do you have prestidigitation?
I do. I'd like to stay clean.
Yeah, would that help with the grubs?
Okay, you're sort of like cleaning up the grubs using prestidigitation. You're sort of like sweeping them into a pile in the corner at the moment. The prestidigitation doesn't seem to destroy them, but the moonbeam certainly does. So it's like it's already. Someone did cast moonbeam, right?
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Okay, your moonbeam's still up. You basically just sweep the room with your moonbeam until all the grubs are gone. The corpse of the barrister is there's a sort of this shriveled skin of a barrister sort of like draped over a chair. It's slightly ripped, and then the whatever aberrant insect, essentially you scorch it into like a black smudgy spot basically on the floor.
Smite.
The Frederick Bertoglio basically eventually starts going at this point. Does someone slap him out of it, or can
Lesser restoration.
persuasion?
Dirk's gonna slap him with Mage Hand.
Okay.
And tell him to get a grip on yourself, man.
Okay, roll persuasion. Or roll insight, whichever is better for your character.
The same. 21.
All right. Does anyone actually have calm emotions or not?
I used to.
I don't think so.
Okay, fair enough. All right. He is definitely not all there at the moment as he's going bugs, 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 bugs.
And then Al, you may want to lay hands on yourself to get yourself into a state of.
I was literally, I was gonna ask that because I was gonna use like a good portion of my lay on hands because I'm close.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And then do we have time to do a quick potion?
Sure.
I can heal
There's
some.
nothing else attacking you immediately. Let's put it that way. So it's the. All right, so you're in this sort of like nondescript barrister's office. You eventually, upon searching the property, you find a fully skinned corpse of a human being sitting in an armoire. It's like, okay, I did not need to see that.
That was probably the actual barrister.
Yes. Okay, so I need wisdom saves from everybody upon seeing more horrific stuff.
1 sec. Let me
Is it? Do we get paladin bonuses for this?
You do get paladin bonuses for this, so everybody gets +3 on top of your normal wisdom bonus.
23.
Okay.
That gives me a 22.
All right. So if you roll, okay, so the DC is 15. If you fail, essentially you lose 2 wisdom temporarily.
Dirk got a 26, which is some sort of miracle.
all right. Let me sorry. What was the roll again?
Wisdom save.
And you have a bardic inspiration still, Al. So you can roll an extra 1d8 if you need it.
Okay. Let me go to the saves. Sorry. A wisdom save. Gonna roll that. I got an 18, and then do I count +3?
Well, you're fine. The DC is 16, so it's like you made it already. So, okay. So, okay, no one failed.
Krishana, do you need?
I failed. I got an 8.
So let's see here.
Excuse me.
So at this point, you've got +3 charisma and -2 wisdom. Is that what just happened?
Yes, that's correct. Well, you get +2 to charisma stat and -2 to your wisdom stat at the moment. So.
Yeah.
For Krishana,
Can I
no
give
offense,
her
but
bardic
that tracks.
but that's
Not after the fact, no.
Yeah, I didn't figure, but okay. And I can't cast Silvery Barb because we're not in battle. I don't think I have anything.
Okay. I think Zumlar took like 22 points of damage, but that's about it. So, but Zumlar can probably handle himself basically for healing. So,
Yep.
And Dirk quaffed a potion.
okay, so in an armoire, you find a fully skinned human being. It's just like, it's like it'd be artful if it weren't so freaking gross. The does anybody handle the human skin suit?
I'm not touching
Uh,
it with anything except a mage hand, but maybe I can use mage hand to like frisk. Is there any clothing on it, or it's just naked, or?
It is clothing. There's clothing essentially.
Okay, so
So,
yeah, why don't I just like check and see if there's anything interesting? And do we want to like maybe shove that in a bag of holding and take it
so
to
yeah, there's
Battle
the ledger
Mistress?
essentially with the check in it
Yeah.
and the notary seal.
Uh-huh.
So you're guessing both of those actually belong to this barrister that was already killed, though. So that's
So if the check goes missing and there's just the mark in the ledger, was it technically paid but not subtracted from the bank?
well, he would have to take it to a bank essentially to have it basically the have the contract actually executed. So no money has been moved at this point.
But if the ledger was, I mean, like if the from the point of view of the Davenports or the Crown, the money was paid. Or you're just saying he'd have to rewrite another check. I'm almost wondering if there's all kinds of stuff in this ledger that needs to go to the Battle Mistress or the police. Or do we
Okay, well, you flip through it. It's not encoded or anything. There's like this is apparently a common law lawyer that does a little bit of debt collecting on the side. So it's like there's all sorts of debts collected for various individuals in here. Uh, the double ledger portion basically indicates all the money is being deposited into the Green Sleeves Bank.
Hmm. Is that the bank that we went to? It's not. We went to the jewelry person, right?
Yes, that's
yeah.
right. So
Okay.
there's your guys' money is being held at a goldsmith. But there are banks, but they tend to deal with like tens of thousands of gold, mainly for mainly for merchants and merchant marine uh, interests, essentially, which are dealing in tens of thousands of gold.
So we
But
might.
you're familiar with Greensleeves. It's just off the. It's effectively just off the main boardwalk at the docks of the far eastern end of town. So
It may be that they're doing some money laundering for the Davenports.
I
well,
mean,
there's probably no money laundering involved. The Davenports own a normal business. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
they're just horrible people.
They're just horrible people. That's correct. They dabble on the side in basically sacrificing people to dark gods.
Well, guys, what do you think is the best way for us to interrupt this so that our young friend Frederick does not have to spend his family's fortune, and so we can leverage the information from this to take down this leg of support for the Davenports? Do we want to catch it on fire? Do we want to give it to the battle mistress? Do we want to take it to the police? Do we want to take it to Greensleeves? What you know?
Were those are those places gonna like I don't know. I'm thinking like maybe the battle mistress can
Yeah,
help us.
especially since we've
Fine,
got the
essentially.
skin guy in the
You head over to the Sisters of Mercy. They come back with an investigation group and an inquisitor. And it's like, well, unique, not a demon. It's like the no sense, no demonic trace of demonic possession either. Uh,
Just gross.
I've never quite seen an aberration like this, skinwalker, but disturbing.
Very gross. I did not like that one.
So, Sisters of Mercy, we were surprised by this, and one of our members did sustain some wisdom issues. Is there any chance that you could help heal with
Sure. So Krishana, essentially, if you have clerical healing done at this point, it will clear up your +2 charisma and your -2 wisdom in the same go. So, what is your call?
She is not gonna accept the healing. She likes her high.
Okay.
I have an awesome buzz. Do not want to lose it right now. Okay.
Beautiful.
It's just a wonderful character always.
So, Krishana keeps her buzz on, and all right, the Inquisitor goes. Well, I'm not normally one to say this, but if you simply, we could simply report essentially that she rips the page out of the ledger that we didn't find this.
I think it's a good idea.
Didn't find what? I'll snatch the paper from her and eat it.
I think we have the same idea here.
Didn't
All
find
right.
what?
Again,
I don't know what
thank
you're
you
talking
for
about.
your valorous service in the name of the crown. May the one God protect you in your travels. All right, we'll continue our investigation from here. We'll let you know if we find anything else out, though I doubt we will, unfortunately. This, whatever this creature did is, it seems to be extremely fastidious. I would have expected a lot more blood from skinning a human being. As he's sort of looking around, and all of you are sort of thinking about it, it's like, there should be blood everywhere, but there's no blood anywhere around here.
So I think Dirk, we've been here for a little while, and he's probably taken the opportunity to cast detect magic and see if there's anything else here that we need to know about.
Okay, there's a sort of suspicious looking broken jar, ceramic jar in the back of the building that detects as a strong conjuration magic on it. You sort of, you're guessing that whatever it was, basically this thing might have been contained in that jar because it seems to have been uh, thrown in through an open window and cracked.
Ah. I think we give that to the Sisters of Mercy too, right?
Right, well, I see your reputation as a detective precedes you, Mr. Dirk. So, all right, we'll look into this as well. Essentially, the forensics people aren't quite here yet. I was just looking for demonic. I was sent here as an inquisitor since it sounded like what you were describing was demons, but this does not look like to be the work of a demon.
Yes, hopefully there'll be some evidence in the jar that'll help you determine exactly what we're dealing with, because we don't know. There might be more of these. This might only be one of several.
That is true.
We couldn't, like, when we came in, it looked like a human being.
Especially how many grubs it
Grubs. Yeah, she can get some of the grubby goo too.
Ugh.
Anything else that we want to like look through the desk or anything?
Is there any money?
Okay. Well, you sort of pour through the desk. Essentially, there's a small cash box in there with like 100 gold in it, in
Nice.
£1 notes. And then so i.e. 100 $1 bills for all intents and purposes. What else is in there? There's upstairs. There's a. It's like a toiletry kit, teapots, like dish, sort of like the stuff that basically someone might basically furnish their middle lifestyle house with. Essentially, there's some paintings of a dog's and his mother.
Dog's playing poker.
Yes.
I love dogs playing poker.
Should we be afraid of these paintings?
Say again?
Are the paintings going to try and possess us?
No, these don't look to be like pictures of any of the Davenports. Let's put it that way. So, and this wasn't that. I'm saying this guy was basically eaten by some aberration, and he wore his skin around as a suit. So it's like
Literally Men in
this
Black.
guy is not. This particular barrister is not anything particularly remarkable himself. Essentially, let's put it that way.
I'm wondering if the aberration was sent by the Davenports or by somebody who was anti-Davenport. Can I have insight on that?
Oh, considering the skin suit individual sort of smells slightly like of the sickly sweet lavender scent of the Davenports,
Okay.
whereas a perfume you're guessing is associated to the Davenports.
So I'm wondering how he was going to be in touch with them from here. If they have a summoning circle nearby, or if he had a way to teleport, or how he was staying in contact with them. Maybe there's something scrying in the house.
Okay. Well, not offhand per se. You don't see anything. Your detect magic
Okay.
doesn't show you anything. Night Warrior is just one of those people that basically comes and observes every so often, so it's okay. Just leave him be.
Okay.
So the okay, so the you're sort of checking around the house. It's basically like if you went around some random, basically middle class person's house, you'd find a novel they're reading, some reading glasses, extra changes of clothes, a bedpan, some silverware, some dishes. It's like candles, candlesticks. It's like everything that a middle class individual might need in their house. Nothing particularly super remarkable here. There are some law books. So this, as a barrister, he has some law books. And other than that, there seems to be a little bit of paperwork he was working on at his desk. Strangely enough, none of the basically contracts he's writing are even as you look back through his ledger. None of the stuff he's except for this one transaction, essentially, he's never done business with any of the Davenports or Davenport properties before.
So maybe that happened after he was turned into the grub worm.
Yes.
Okay. That's good to
All right.
know.
Snatch a teak.
As
So-
you sort of do a quick like spiral expanded search to the surrounding buildings, you eventually find eventually find a dead horse that is like in very advanced stages of decay. Is like the maggot roundup here essentially is like it's riddled with tiny white worms like running all over the place, and there's and it looks like the center its chest has been hollowed out, and something is stuck in there.
That's Mage Hand right there.
Okay. You reach
That's amazing.
you reach in there and pull out another one of these sort of like terracotta jars with strange runic symbols on it.
Is it a language I can read?
Yes. It is. What is it? It is the. Let's see here. Oh, you're a celestial warlock. Never mind. I guess you don't necessarily know this language, but you
Dirk
have.
has Infernal, Sylvan, Elvish under
But
common.
basically, I think he. I think Krishana has the. What is it?
Eyes at the room keeper. I can
Where
read.
it can read anything.
Oh yeah.
All right. So. All right. It is the. It is the ancient tongue. Essentially, that is all that sort of comes to your mind. The nobody. Doesn't look like modern common, but it sort of reads like modern common. It's like the. What is it? Okay, I need to actually look this one up. One second.
Okay. Well, I think we made some progress on the horses. There's so many dead horses around here. If every one of them has a jar, and somebody has hatched out of it and skinned someone, there is a lot of stuff going on right now.
Oh, great. Lovely. That's a intrusive thought for the future.
Well, I'd rather know about it than not know about it.
No, absolutely. But still, the knowing hurts.
Al, do you want to take the picture of the dogs playing poker? Would that help?
Yeah, can I take an emotional support picture?
Yes, you can take an emotional support picture.
He doesn't
Yay.
need it anymore.
Thank you. And a teacup.
And a teacup. That's perfectly fine.
And now Dirk can do a minor illusion of the dogs with the playing poker at any point and just show it to you.
Thank you.
Encouragement.
Thank you. I am gonna add like a little teacup because I like having stupid inventory.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Does Krishana basically sort of like read this out loud like Ash from the Evil Dead, or do you actually keep it to yourself?
Ooh.
I will read it out loud to everybody.
Okay. All right, you're going, Law Norlethep, dark soul of Illigor, messenger in the void, crawling chaos, corrupter of all essence. I call upon you to shield this one's mortal life against that which seeks to end it. It's like, as there's this sort of this swirling mass of like black chaos energy that swirls around Krishana as she says this incantation, and the jar cracks open.
Oh, great.
Uh-oh.
Maybe we
Okay,
all want to
so
take a couple
Krishana,
steps back.
you have the effect of a death ward at this point. So the next time you get killed, you instead survive, but in a corrupted state.
Not the next time she goes down, the next time she dies.
Well, the next time you effectively go to 0 hit points, essentially. It just works like normal
that's how death ward works.
So anything that would kill you instantly, you survive. Anything that would reduce you to 0 hit points, you basically like instead have 1 hit point.
Okay.
All right, then everybody sort of like Krishana basically like scratches at the back of her neck and sort of pulls her long hair aside to one side of her neck, and you can see this sort of like swirling maw of tattoo of the swirling maw of chaos with tentacles sticking out of it on the back of her neck.
Whoa. Holy crap.
Would I recognize Natholop from Religion?
Sure, you can roll Arcana or Religion for anybody to recognize this.
Maybe one of the paladins could try religion.
Wait, what was it again?
So it's a Religion or Arcana check to know who Narlathotep is.
I got a 10 for either or.
Okay, so Krishana doesn't know offhand. So.
I'll give
I got 19.
Okay, Zumlar, you immediately lose 2 wisdom, essentially temporarily, as knowing the name basically of, as you sort of like have horrific visions of basically seeing something you weren't supposed to see, in Tir Nanog, essentially, probably summoned up by the elves, summoned up by, say, the Fey court to battle the British, as they were increasingly desperate at the end of the war. You know something about basically the great old ones, and you are poorer for it at the end as you basically feel like bits of your sanity slip away into the void.
Now, Zumlar, I think, had a thing where he went into some sort of altered state and was back in Tiranon and saw the maidens getting set on fire and stuff. Does he recognize this from his previous vision?
Yes, essentially, it's like a sort of continuation of that. Essentially, what happened after the Elvish the ladies of the ladies of the Dawn essentially sacrificed themselves for to turn back the British. Essentially, it's like they summoned something that was never meant to be summoned. That should have never basically touched the fair lands nor the realms of men.
That can't be good.
And Zumlar has this like sinking, horrible feeling that is like that same entity is now here in London, waiting within Southwark.
Well, shit.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
And there's how many horses? There's like multiple horses every day that have been dying for a week.
Yes.
Oh, not
Okay,
so
Al, what do you, since he's in your charge, essentially, what do you do with Frederick Bertolio?
Oh. Well,
Can I
first
eat him?
yeah,
I'm
probably
kidding.
pass-
I'm kidding. I'm
Wait,
kidding.
what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
I said, can I eat him? But I'm kidding.
Oh, I mean, yeah, scared meat doesn't taste that good. The chemicals get a little weird.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Well, first I want to give him a pat on the back and say, well, look now, you don't have to cry in your beer anymore.
I hope that is the case. Like it's not like well, I cannot basically petition the court for to not pay the Davenports. The Davenports have every right to basically petition that I pay, unfortunately.
Well, let me tell you something. And I'm gonna look at him real serious like and gonna give him an intimidation check. That they were shipping in vampires into this country. That's what this contraband was. And we're the ones that took it out. That's why we're doing this. Because we know we can help you, and that what happened isn't fair. Obviously, no one's going to believe you if you say this. But that's why we're here.
That's awfully decent of you. It's like,
well, we got a bone to pick with the Davenports ourselves, so hopefully you may not have to end up paying this one way or another.
We don't want the Davenports to have your money.
Or anyone.
With it.
Well,
so you got friends on your side.
Hold on for as long as you can. Don't pay them. They're not worth being paid. They have too much money as it is already.
Maybe your family can go into hiding.
Well, if I withdraw some funds now, maybe we might be able to have some cash on hand before the rest is claimed by the Davenports. Then.
I'm wondering, like,
so Al, do you care to accompany me to my home? It's like I could use the company.
I mean, yeah, I guess make sure that like no one comes around to try to mess with you. I think that would
I would dearly appreciate it. It's like given what happened to that poor unfortunate barrister.
Yeah. See, that's what the Davenports are doing.
Yeah, we don't want you turning into a skin for monster either.
We have the creepy guys from Madam K's. And if Dirk has not told you about the guy's teeth, the shark teeth yet, he's going to mention that. So they
Nosferatu looking head ass.
For all of us, so I think we do need to stay together. Can we all walk you home, perchance?
I appreciate it. Okay, everybody picks up an inspiration essentially for helping Frederick Bertolio out as you drop him off at his family house. Another sort of Victorian brownstone, not too far away actually. It's maybe only about a block and a half away.
It's only fair. He deserves to know. He shouldn't be giving up his money.
Yeah, no, I was worried about that.
And I think after seeing this shit, I think he knows that it's real and he won't go flapping his gums to anyone. Not that anyone might believe him.
Yeah, no, that'd be a really hard story to sell, wouldn't it?
But after seeing this shit, I think he believes us.
I'd be amazed if he didn't, right, bud?
I believe everything. I believe the testimony of my own senses, as horrific as it was.
Yeah, might have knocked those senses out for a hot second, but yeah.
I don't know how freelancers like yourselves basically face evils like this on the regular, but I wish God's grace upon you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a paladin. I normally face evil like this.
Yeah, when you're a nun for this battle maiden, it things get weird.
All right, so so Frederick Bertolio heads back into his home at this point. He says he'll try to keep safe and he'll go to the bank tomorrow and hopefully withdraw some funds.
Keep an eye out.
If he can, perhaps he and his family will take a trip out of town.
Wouldn't be a bad time for a vacation.
All right, as you're heading back that evening to your normal haunt at the Iron Cauldron, there's a somber mood in the air as the vipers come on back with a vengeance. As you can barely see, maybe about 3 feet in front of you through the piece of greenish fog that envelops the London night. You can hear strange yelps and screams out in the darkness every so often. You're trying to discern if that's like a normal thing, like or if someone is meeting a horrible end, it's better probably not to think about it. You arrive at the Iron Cauldron. You seem to be one of two groups in here. There's another group of adventurer freelancers. Uh, a sort of powerfully built man with reddish reddish brown hair, that's cut in a short military style, wearing a sort of like single military breastplate and with a musket leaned over to the side, and a battle axe like a musket and a battle axe leaned against the wall. And then surrounding him are three other men, all sort of wiry and thin, that all with muskets of their own. It looks like they might be Swiss mercenaries or something along those lines, because their skin is pale even by British standards, let's put it that way. And their very light blue eyes or light hazel eyes sort of give away the fact that they're not from around here, since most Londoners have dark eyes. So the sort of matronly innkeep goes, welcome back, welcome back. It's like, gonna catch a nip basically before you better start heading home.
Good evening, miss.
Hello.
Well, sit down, warm your bones by the fire. I'll get you your usuals. She comes back with your various favored hot drinks. Essentially, some of you drink spiced cider. Some of you drink Irish coffee. Some of you just drink whiskey straight. The as you're all sitting by the fire and pondering your next steps, what are your next steps?
I'm interested in hunting down the twins, in all honesty. Getting in the good graces with the Draconis might help me get some connection.
We have the day tomorrow.
There's clues for that at the beer hall area, so
we have the dust.
If you can start freeing people from their thraldom to the Davenports, essentially, and you have all the Black Fairy dust you need to do this, that seems like a good next step.
So we're on Tuesday night, and Wednesday evening is when they get together and do the thing.
So tomorrow evening, essentially. So you're gonna get a good night's rest tonight, and then head out to this block party tomorrow.
So do we have anything we want to do during the day tomorrow before we head over there?
I guess only set up for when we're like spraying every application, but as soon as we sort of like spread.
Do we want to test the fairy dust on one? Because it hit all of the merchants that were in the little stores around it. Do we want to go in and try and free a couple of them and see how well it works?
I think that's not a bad idea, using a little bit of it.
Okay. So this will be the last thing for this evening, and then we'll do the beer hall block party to our next session. So you would head over to a merchant, the candlestick maker this time rather than the alchemist. He's a sort of like middling build individual, essentially, with a slightly balding hair, probably in his mid 40s or so. His hair is more gray than anything else, so it's kind of quite hard to tell what hair color he has. His sort of steel gray eyes basically probably made him handsome when he was younger, though. You sort of go up to him, basically smear some black fairy dust in the palm of your hand, shake his hand. It's like, oh, bit of coal soot, essentially. Would you like a wet cloth to wipe that off? As he sort of wipes his hand off at the moment and then hands you the cloth.
Oh, thank you.
So, what brings you by? You need candles, lighting for how much, or how many do you need? I have magical lighting as well. Essentially, it's a little bit more on the expensive side, but I like the warmth and glow of like actual tallow candles.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, can we tell if there's been a change in him? Can the paladins tell?
Well, your detect magic indicates he's no longer under like thraldom, so he'll probably answer anything honestly that he actually wants to answer honestly without basically being so he can't basically so any him being sworn to secrets doesn't work anymore, right? So he might actually tell you something if he's willing to tell you. So
Well, I think we need to buy some candles, some magical lighting, so he's happy, and then let's just ask him if he's seeing anything go on around there that concerns him.
oh well, awfully odd. It's like the lovely family, the Zubergs were had just moved into town, settled in to the neighborhood, and one by one, basically, fewer and fewer of them come to the to our Wednesday gets-togethers. Essentially, I think the only one left is Emma Zuberg, who's she's pretty young thing, basically probably no more than about 13, 14, but her parents seem to have gone missing, and she seems to be living on her own.
And did they have a shop?
The Zubergs were a large family. 10, like 6, 3 daughters and 4 sons. So, and then they all went missing one day.
Oh, all at the same time?
No, a few at a time. So it's like one week it was the elder Zuberg, and then another week it was the twin brothers, and then another week it was Emma's sister. But that was yeah, but Emma's all alone by herself over at the edge of Cotton Street over there. I go and visit her and deliver her some candles every so often to cheer her mood, but nothing can seem to get her out of her funk.
Well, I guess. So the Zubergs, did they move from somewhere else in England? Or do you think they came from overseas?
They originally came from overseas. Uh, Supposedly this far eastern country known as Transylvania.
Ah.
Do you know if she's of like Fey blood or anything like that?
No, human to be sure. So I got an eye for these things. I don't. I can usually tell if people have Fey ancestry.
Okay. Well, Transylvania, I've heard of that before. It is over across the pond.
Yes, far in the Balkans, essentially, where those Tsarists live, essentially.
Well, we'll try and keep an eye out for her and what might be going on over on Cotton Street. Is there anything else you can think of that happens at the parties on Wednesday? I know there's a lot of good cheer.
It is
People are
it is
happy.
a grand time. There's dancing, there's music, there's food. It's like the Davenports are very generous hosts. It's like, why they chose to bless our small neighborhood, essentially, I will never know. But I'm not one to look at the gift horse in the mouth.
And so they don't normally come, but they have the butler and the maid that usually come on Wednesdays. Is that right?
Yes, their butler and maid often show up and say a couple words to start off the ceremonies, but not much else than that.
Okay.
Their checks are good; they always pay on time, so I don't have really complaints about them. Basically, as a merchant. So, speaking of you, what sort of candles can I get you? So, I do have ritual candles for performing magical ceremonies, laced with silver or laced with fairy dust. I do have these gold leaf candles as well, essentially. So anything you might need. So these ones supposedly ward off evil, though I've never been actually able to verify that. Some of the locals here but definitely hold great stock in these candles, as he holds these sort of bluish candles that smell like lavender.
Oh.
Smell like lavender.
Yes.
I mean, for working with fairy dust already.
Well, the Davenport
Or do we-
smell like lavender.
Yeah, no, that's. I'm also. Do we want to like take it to study what they're working with?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Let's get some.
So
and
you
then maybe we'll
spend
conclude.
all right. So you spend basically like 20 gold and an assortment of candles at this
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
Okay, so
Maybe we'll light them up at the party tomorrow.
okay.
Is this the alchemist with the healing supplies?
No, this is the candle maker. So he mentions something in passing that you find interesting. It's like, well, supposedly, but anyway, supposedly these gold candles, if you put them in the right orientation of magic circles, will activate a magic circle. I've never actually been able to verify that. That little tidbit of knowledge myself. I'm not really one to look into arcanes and candles, but these ones were specifically asked for by Kevin Davenport. He never came and picked them up, so I might as well sell them now. So.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have those. Thank you.
All right.
How many of the gold candles are there?
So there's 10 essentially. So, but this sort of matches with the sort of like 10 major runes that you've seen in the Davenport teleportation circles so far. So one for each sort of like address rune. So maybe this would allow you to activate a magic circle without actually having the magic circle spell.
Yeah, which would be cool.
Yeah.
I like that. So let's give him an extra 5 gold tip.
All right, he thanks you for the tip, and it's just like, well, come on back if you need birthday candles or just some extra warm lighting for your home.
You're obviously a fine purveyor, and we appreciate your help and your information.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so that's it for this evening, and we will pick it up next week. So,
yay, Lawrence!
All right, hey Lawrence.
Fabulous.
Yes.
I'm gonna just send you a link to an open Google Doc that's just plans for what I would like. I don't think it's anything outrageous, just to give you stuff to work with for my character.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Yay.
Dirk just wants to stir up trouble.
But I think you're like one of the most centering forces to some extent.
Stirring up trouble. You kids have a great week, and we'll see you next weekend. And I think we'll have Lady Emma back by then. So we may actually have 3 females in one session. Can you imagine?
Crazy.
I know, crazy dog.
Didn't think it was possible.
Maybe
All right,
it's a
have a good
sign
night,
of the
guys.
coming apocalypse. Yeah. Have a great
Yeah.
week.
The end
Bye.
is nigh.
Night. Good night.